Hello there, BookTube. My name is Daniel. Welcome back to my channel, Guilty Feet. I've got no rhythm. Today I want to do some follow-up on something I did last year, which is I spoke about the four literary white whales, four books that I had always been meaning to read and never managed to get round to reading. And since then, so the first one that I read of those was 1984 by George Orwell, and I did a review of that. It was fantastic. The second one I read of those was Bleak House by Charles Dickens, which I'd had sitting on my shelf for the best part of 20 years and started it and abandoned it. And I got through to the end of it, didn't love it. And the third one is what I'm going to talk about today, which is Vanity Fair by William Makepeace Thackeray. And you can, I don't know if you can pick up the thing. And I got this Penguin Clothbound Classic edition. And I'll talk a little bit about the book, and then I want to talk about these editions and get your opinion on these things. So first of all, this was the third of my literary white whales. It's a classic Victorian novel. I haven't read any other Thackeray. I did, again, I think many years ago, probably more than 30 years ago, I think I started, there was a copy of Vanity Fair maybe lying around my parents' house, and I started reading it once, but I didn't get maybe more than 10 pages into it before I wasn't in a person who read a lot of classics at the time. I just wanted to be someone who had, but that took some training, and this was a big book, and I was not in a place where I was reading enough to get into the rhythm of reading something big. I was lucky enough to receive this copy. I got this for free. So part of an online something called Bookmarks. I think it's run by Penguin Random House, where they send me surveys every so often. I've been clicking boxes and checking things and answering questions for however long, and they sent me the best email a man can receive, a man or a woman can receive, the best email a human being can receive, the best email any mammal could ever receive, which was offering me a chance to choose a couple of free books, and one of the ones I chose, I don't remember if this was before or after, I think it's before that I did maybe this might have prompted the literary white whale thing, because I knew this was coming. It was I ordered the Clothbound Classic edition of Vanity Fair. So about the book, yeah, it's fantastic. Really fantastic. This is 800 pages. Story. First of all, it's just a brilliant opening. The first time we meet Becky Sharp is breathtakingly funny and striking, and immediate contrast set up between Becky Sharp, what's the firecracker, whatever, all these cliches that you use about women who will have their own way. She is the absolute prototype of this, and then a contrast with her friend who's sweet and lovely and dull as the proverbial ditchwater, and then the way these lives diverge and converge, and all the way through. Becky Sharp is just a joy. Every second that she's on the page is you cannot take your eyes off her. You cannot stop reading. You just desperately wish for this dreadful, self-involved but self-aware creature. You just want her to succeed, and every bit of this was as much fun as I've had reading a Victorian novel. And if you have any love of the classics, and if you have any experience reading the Victorians, particularly sort of love stories and relationships that are meant to be but are torn apart, but love that is chased and won and lost, and all these tropes. If you have any love for these stories, Vanity Fair turns them on their head, delivers them, but also upends them, and it just, as I say, an absolute joy to read. Highly recommend it. I understand that I'm not going to be the person convincing anyone to go back and read Vanity Fair, but if you are somebody who reads the classics and haven't read Vanity Fair up till now, I would include it with all the best of the stuff that you've read, because it was top drawer as far as I'm concerned. But I want to talk a little bit about this edition. So I've seen these, and I've admired them as objet de désir, as somebody who likes and collects books. Clearly these beautiful cloth-bound hardback editions seem desirable, but I could never bring myself to buy one because they are expensive. So this new, it has a sticker on the back, is £16.99, which actually, maybe for a new hardback book, they're getting up to now £20, £25 for new hardback books. So, but still at the upper end what a hardback book used to be 4 or 5 years ago, let's say. $16.99 is a lot of money for me to spend on a book. I buy somewhere between 100 and 150 books a year, and I do most of that secondhand or reduced price or on sale or wherever I can, even including sort of front list new releases. I will very, very, very rarely try and pay full price for even a new release. But for a classic, there seems to be an endless supply of these things that one can buy cheaply. So I buy classics. I'll read 2 or 3 books that are over 100 years, first published, let's say over 100 years ago, first published in the 19th century. I'll read 1 or 2 of those a year. I've read, I don't know how many that I've got here that qualify as being written pre-1900. I tend to buy them relatively cheaply because you can. Because if you go on eBay or you're wandering into second-hand stores, you can buy a Penguin Classics edition, maybe not the most recent printing with the all black spine thing, but one of the older ones. And what have I got here? So something like this. These are my preferred Penguin Classics. The one where this is so faded. This is supposed to be a red bar on the top. This is a Thomas Hardy, The Distracted Preacher, and Other Tales. But you can find these for £1, £2, £3, maximum £4 anywhere you go looking. And I'm guessing the equivalent anywhere else. So for me to spend £16.99 on a new version of a book that I can buy cheaply, it just doesn't make sense. In the economics of my buying and hoarding books, I can't justify this price. But having received it, I thought, well, this is a treat, even though I wouldn't necessarily lay out for this. To get one is a treat. And then, so what I want to do is also give a review of this book. So I was delighted to get this. It really feels great. It's a kind of material on the outside. It's not sort of a glossy book cover. So this is sort of naked hardback. There's no dust jacket that goes with it. And it's got, so this is pale blue. There are all sorts of different colors and has this sort of printing on the front. And there's the name. And what you can see, I'm sure you can already see this, is just in the time that I had reading it, it's faded. Like the paint is starting to rub off. Forget the fact that it got a bit dirty up there and I wouldn't know how to clean that. Maybe with a cloth and some soap and some water I could clean that. I wouldn't want to take a cloth, soap and water to a book, but it's possible you could clean the outside if you're careful. But the whole thing has tended rather to fade, even the spine. So these strike me as something that one would collect only if one were never to read it. As an object that that was to be read, so it was in my hands, and my hands are not, I don't have particularly sweaty palms, but just in, and you can see in terms of the pages, it very well catered. I don't break them out, I don't leave books upside down like that, I use a bookmark, but just in everyday use in the week and a half, 2 weeks that I was reading this, it's got awfully faded to the extent that it's actually hard to read the title on the side. I file my books alphabetically by author, so and I don't have any of Clothbound Classics, so I will always know that this is Vanity Fair by William Makepeace Thackeray. But as a usable object, as a book, I think this fails on almost every level. As a beautiful object, as an unread artifact of or a proof that you love collecting beautiful things, absolutely, go out and buy as many of these as you like. But for me, it reads exactly the same as the cheapest paperback version of the same thing. I don't have any particular, I like reading hardbacks, but I don't prefer them to paperbacks. But just the fact that it's faded and it's unclear and the cover just has not held up to everyday wear and tear makes this, I think, a little bit of a disappointment and not something that I would pursue further. So again, if people want to send me free copies of books, I will never say no. I wouldn't replace any of the beaten up paperback versions of the Jane Austens or the Thomas Hardys or the Trollops or the whatever else, or the Vicar of Wakefield, or whether it's an author I've read a lot of or one. I wouldn't replace any of them with a clothbound hardback version. These things are beautiful, but they're beautiful if all you want to do is look at them. And that's kind kind of my review of Penguin Clothbound Classics. Good luck to you. If you want to collect these and you love beautiful things in shelves, I have no issue with that. Go for it. For me, as a reader, this is not going to work. A, because of the price. B, because of the durability. And C, because there's no actual difference between reading it this way and reading it else. I'm pretty sure, although someone will know better than I if I get this wrong, I'm pretty sure that the contents of this book are exactly the same as the contents of the normal Penguin Classic. So there's an introduction, and there are notes at the end, or the footnotes and pages which refer to things at the end. Not much more than that. Pretty solid introduction at the beginning, and notes which I refer to fairly regularly as words come up or concepts come up that I'm not familiar with. So I don't think this is necessarily worth your money. But I appreciate that people just want to collect these things and have them on the shelves. But that's my review of both the book Vanity Fair, A+, and the Penguin Clothbound Classics, C-. God bless, bye.